We're here today to talk about legislation filed earlier this month that would create a Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform. HJR 6 and HB 275 express the need for and creates an 18-member independent panel that would be charged with recommending improvements that would increase efficiency, reduce costs, enhance accountability, and improve administration control over state agencies. And it would also provide opportunities for managerial improvements over the short and long term. This is a commission that will not be paid for by taxpayer funds. It will be paid for with private contributions made to a 501c4 social welfare organization. I know what you're thinking. It's cold outside, the weather's horrible, and now we're sitting here listening to another Republican stump about the need to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. Couldn't agree with you more. Roll your eyes if you want, but nobody denies that those things do exist. Maybe if we'd heeded studies that have come before, we wouldn't be in the mess that we're in, or at least as deeply into it. This is not an attempt to privatize government, nor is it an attempt to find a way to run government like a business. Government is not a business. Government is the contract that we make with ourselves to do the things that we can't do for ourselves. So what I'm trying to do here is point out management deficiencies. As Representative Swanson will outline shortly, there are audit findings throughout pretty much every agency in the state government that have been repeated for years. This repeat of audit findings indicates a breakdown in the very systems we have in place to run state agencies. That's what this bill is meant to address. Governor Pritzker's first executive order mandated agencies to conduct a review of all statutory obligations, all audit findings within the last 4 years, and provide a plan to ensure statutory compliance and to address audit findings. We need to do more. We need to know what's going on in those agencies that give rise to repeated audit findings that show a lack of, in many cases, a lack of control over the very money that we tell them to spend. I'm looking forward to working with the governor by providing him with this bipartisan tool. We need to have a true examination of how our state agencies operate so we can look people in the eye and say that Illinois government is operating as efficiently and effectively as possible. I'd like to introduce Representative Swanson, who will speak briefly about his thoughts and what he has found. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Wright. And to begin, I'd like to congratulate Governor Pritzker and to his new staff members and agency directors as they begin their task here in Springfield. I'm Representative Dan Swanson, a military veteran, over 27 and a half years in the Army, and I view things from a military perspective. One of the things a military leader does is when they take over a command or take over an organization, whether it be a sergeant at the platoon level or a lieutenant at the platoon level or a captain at command or a colonel at battalion brigade command, is to look at inspection reports from prior years. The Auditor General provides those type of inspection reports, similar to what the Army inspection reports looked at deficiencies. In the military, commanders and leaders were held accountable for those inspection reports. I feel it'd be beneficial and it'd be a good starting place for Governor Pritzker and his directors and this commission to begin looking at those auditor reports from the Auditor General. As I reviewed some auditor reports, as Representative Wright pointed out, it's wrong and it's inefficient for the same reports and same errors being found year after year after year with no accountability in those findings. As I said, that's not acceptable in the military world, nor should it be in our government world. The Auditor General gets paid a fine amount of money to do his audits, And I think those audit reports should be taken more into accountability and more into review as we move forward. As I said, this is a good time for the governor and the directors to begin that by looking at those former Auditor General reports and take those into consideration, the efficiencies. Whether it's an inefficiency in our vehicle, our state government vehicles, or our computers, or whatever the case may be in some of our grant writings. There are deficiencies, and we need to fix those because we owe it to our taxpayers to fix those deficiencies. I'd like to now introduce Representative Jeff Kiker from the 70th District. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Morning. It's nice and cold out. My name's Jeff Kiker. I come from Northern Illinois, Sycamore area, and I was very heartened when, during the last session, Representative Reich approached me with the idea on this bill. One of the things that I had discovered and stumbled on as I was exploring, seeking this office, was some of the work that Mitch Daniels had done in Indiana concerning efficiency in government spending. My personal opinion is we are all here as representatives, and we owe a duty to the people that we are here representing to make sure that the money that they're sending to Springfield is spent for the highest and best purpose. I can't ascertain today or state today that that's actually being accomplished. And I think that's the onus on the legislative branch to make sure that there are pieces in place that allow that tracking, that accountability, and that efficiency. So Mitch Daniels laid out a couple key points that I would like to see the governor embrace, because at the heart of it, this is a nonpartisan issue. If we can find additional dollars to apply towards social services, additional roads, some enhanced spending at schools, based on efficiencies that we're able to discover through this process, I think we go a long way towards fulfilling our mission and our responsibility as leaders in this state. So what he did is he established a group that oversaw agencies and departments, and he asked those groups to supply him with a mission statement so that it was very clear what that agency or department was there to do. And then following that, he had a team of experts that dug down on 18 core questions that really developed what is the mission and how can we measure where that mission goes. He left it up to the departments to decide where that mission is. But imagine coming back at the end of the year and having an agency that is excelling in all these measurable areas. Imagine not only how good the folks receiving services from those agencies feel, but as a legislator, imagine us standing up here knowing that the different departments and agencies that we've allocated funds and resources to now is held to account and can support that they're providing excellent value to those that they serve. It would additionally allow us to better allocate those resources, but imagine the transformation within the state departments when the people working there know that they have a goal and a drive towards a particular purpose. They're no longer being beat up by those of us on the floor because of their lack or failure, as we view it, to achieving goals that maybe they weren't even intended to achieve. It gives clarity, it gives purpose, it gives focus, and it allows for us to know that our government dollars are being spent for the highest and best calling. So, Representative Reich, I appreciate you introducing this, and I'm excited to be able to sign on.